Q&A 4. Hello and welcome to another video and this year's Q&A, or this year's first Q&A at least. It's been a fair while since I've done one like this and they're always fun, so let's get on with it. Seems we've got a bunch of comments, so let me just go to my channel and see what we've got. Okay, oh yeah, quite a few, and some people have done multiples. Okay, that's cool. David, oh my word, David Hammond has done me 9 questions. Okay, this should take a while. Settle in, folks, this could take a while. First one, what horror film scared you the most, would you say? Well, I'm sure I've probably said this before many times, but there's the 2 movies that scared me the most as a kid were the original Fright Night and the original Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, I watched a lot of, horror stuff, a lot of stuff I wasn't supposed to watch as a kid. Most of it was like water for ducks back. Both of those really freaked me out. So, yeah. Question 2. What horror film do you think is the best made but may not be the most frightening? That's an interesting one. I suppose off the top of my head, I could go for Let the Right One In, the late 2000s Swedish vampire film. I mean, that is a beautifully made piece, and it's a beautifully unsettling movie. It's not particularly frightening, I don't think. It's just a very, very good, somewhat unsettling vampire movie, and like I said, beautifully made. Okay, question 3. What classic Who story would you say shows the most influential and intelligent writing and dialogue that maybe inspired you and had an effect on you personally? Ooh, that's a bit of a poser. I mean, in terms of like the best dialogue, pretty much anything by Robert Holmes tends to have better dialogue than, pretty much anything by anybody else. The Ribos Operation is one of the best written Doctor Who stories of all time. Like most influential, I don't know about inspired me and had an effect on me personally. I don't know. That's I honestly don't know the answer to that question. I'm sorry. I think the show as a whole, especially the classic show as a whole, more kind of had an effect on me and inspired me than any particular individual story, I would say. If you wanted to find an era, then probably be like the Williams era or the McCoy era in terms of both the humor of the humor and the clever writing and the imagination on display. Question 4. Would you say Bidmead's work is more bland than season 12? Yes. At the very least, I would say season 12 at least has better dialogue. At least it has actual dialogue rather than incomprehensible technobabble in place of dialogue, which is one of Bidmead's trademarks. Question 5. What remaining collection box set episodes would you update effects for? I think the one I would choose most obviously, season 15 is Underworld. I don't know if it would really make the story, great or anything, but it might at least make it more watchable if they could do what they did with like Terror of the Autons and just smooth out that awful back projection CSO, because it's god awful. I mean and it's a huge chunk of the story, and it's just really hard to even watch it. I don't know whether they will. I don't know whether they could. I mean, there might be too much of that in that story that needs to be done, and they may not have the budget for that. That's a definite one. I mean, what's left to release? It's difficult because I'm not one that I really give that much of a crap about, updating effects. It's very rare that the effects in Classic Who is so bad that it actually takes me out and bothers me. I mean, I wouldn't say that anything in season 16 particularly needs any kind of updated effects. It all looks fine to me. I think that's probably the main one. Is there anything from Pertwee? No. What's left from Pertwee? I guess the dinosaurs, an invasion of the dinosaurs. Again, I don't know whether they and maybe the Scarison in Terror of the Zygons. I don't know whether they could do anything for that. I think those would probably be the main three I can think of. Question 6. What are your top 3 classic Who sets? I think season 17, just because it's one of my absolute favourite seasons, and I also like that we finally got an episodic Sharda. I haven't actually watched that version yet. It'll probably be later this year. But I mean, personally, I was fine with the movie-length version. I thought it was a strange decision. I don't really understand why they did that, other than to make people buy the set later on. It seemed like a very odd decision, especially, even the Tom Baker narrated version was still cut into episodes. It seemed a very odd thing to do, but I can't say it bothered me. I still loved it. But yeah. I don't know. What are the other ones? Season 2, maybe? I actually watched The Rescue recently, which is the first Hartnell I've seen in quite a while, and I really enjoyed it, and the picture quality was really, really good. And that always helps. I mean, it helps to have better picture quality. It makes things look less old. I really like the atmosphere. So if the rest of the season looks as good as The Rescue did, then yay, thumbs up from me. I'm trying not to just name my favorite seasons and particularly. I think I'd almost choose season 23, even though I hate Trial. It's my least favorite classic season. I think I'd put season 23 in there just for the special edition of Vervoids, which I thought was great. Get rid of all the fucking Trial stuff, and it's just an extra really fun Colin Baker story. I mean, none of the other sets. I mean, they're all great. I mean, season 22, season 26. These are some of my favorite seasons. But aside from improved picture quality, I'm not sure. Slightly improved picture quality. I'm not sure they really have anything on them that particularly sets them apart as a set. Whereas season 23 set, again, I think that special edition of Vervoids is great. What are your top? Question 7. Top 5 next generation episodes. Oh Jesus. That's a tough one. I'm gonna have to go on the thing and look at the. Now, obviously, I think you'd put the Best of Both Worlds 2-parter in there. Obviously, I think that's an absolutely classic. That's fantastic 2-parter. Brilliant stuff. Possibly even Q Who as well, which introduces the Borg. I think that's a really, really strong episode. I will say, without having to look, I might not have to look actually. Identity Crisis It's I think that's season 4. Yeah, Identity Crisis. That's the one where people that Geordie was on a mission with several years ago all start disappearing, and he and this other woman that he was friends with, they're next in line for it to happen to. I really like that episode. I think that's a really creepy episode. I think that's really, really strong and really good. I like the weird ones. I like the creepy ones more than anything else, I think. Another one from season 4, Remember Me. I really like that one. With the Beverly one, where people start disappearing on the Enterprise and nobody else even remembers them except her. That's another one that's really creepy. And it's got that wonderfully bonkers bit where by the end of the episode, it's literally just her and Captain Picard left on board, and he doesn't see anything wrong with it. It's like this ship is like 3 miles along or something, and it doesn't have a crew besides us, and he goes, "We've never needed one before." I think that's hilarious, and yet it's in context of a wonderfully creepy story. I really like that one. Let me have a look on to season 5. Schisms, perhaps, as the 5th. That's the one with the alien abductions, isn't it? I think so. Where people are being abducted on the Enterprise and experimented on in the. Like I said, I like the creepy ones. I like the weird and creepy ones. Yeah, that's probably my top 5. Question 8. If you could time travel, where would you go? That's an interesting one. If I could do like a quantum leap like time travel, I think I'd go back in time, kind of into my former self. I think it would probably be the 80s or the early 90s. Time travel, just in general. Oh God. Sorry about that. Interrupted. The phone rang. It was bloody spam. This is a confirmation call from Amazon. Fuck off. I'm not even on Amazon, you bastards. Where was I? If I could time travel, I don't know. Victorian London. I mean, it'd probably be awful in real life, but I do like the romanticized version of it. Question 9. This is a leading question, isn't it? Why do you think in Classic Who fans tend to gravitate to the stories with the highest stakes as opposed to ones with the best scripts and wit? I think you're trying to get me in trouble, aren't you? I'll be nice and say that I think there's a contingency of fans who just like the bangs and flashes as opposed to anything somewhat deeper. And I'm not terribly interested in bangs and flashes. I mean, it can be fun, but I'd rather have a good script. I mean, not really referring to Classic Who, but referring to New Who. This is why some people think Journey's End is a masterpiece, and why I think it's one of the worst Doctor Who stories ever made. Let's just leave it at that, shall we? Okay. Doug's Film and TV has 4 questions for me. Number 1, any detective shows you want to review at some point? I wouldn't mind doing like more of the Joan Hicks and Miss Marples. I've done one. I did the reviewed The Body in the Library. That's actually one of my most popular videos for some reason. It's I wouldn't mind doing some of the others, especially the ones that I really, really love, like Pocketful of Rye and A Murder is Announced, which are just absolute classics. I wouldn't mind doing some more Taggarts as well. It's just a matter of finding the time, especially when, most of the time I can only do one video a week. And I know people want their Doctor Who, and I want to, I want to keep occasionally doing music vids, and there's just so much there's so much to kind of choose from to do, which is ironic, considering how little interest I have in a lot of modern pop culture, and yet there's still so much that I just can't get to everything. Okay, question 2: any shows from America you have seen? What do you mean by that? I mean, do you mean all time, or do you mean recently? I mean, all time, obviously. I've got loads of favourite shows from America, like going all the way back to, Soap or something. And Buffy's one of my absolute favourite shows of all time. If you mean more like in the last few years, like this decade, one that I've just kind of seen recently, I basically had to get a Blu-ray from Japan, I'm assuming it's probably a bootleg, because they don't seem to be in any hurry to release it in the West. And I don't have Disney Plus. I'm sorry, it's on Disney Plus, I think, in Australia, and I don't have it and can't get it and don't particularly want it. So if you won't release it properly, then it looks like buying bootlegs from eBay. Is that it is Only Murders in the Building, which is the comedy mystery series with Steve Martin and Martin Short and Selena Gomez. I've just recently watched the very first season of that, and I thought it was great fun. Really, really entertaining. I've ordered the second season. I think they're doing a third this year. I'm not entirely sure, but I really enjoyed that. I mean, I admit a large part of that is just being able to see something new with old favorite faces like Steve Martin and Martin Short again, and it's actually new and it's actually good. I really, really enjoyed that, and that's why I hope season 2 is just as good as season 1 was. That was really nice. It was really fun. Okay, third question: what are you looking forward to in Doctor Who's 60th anniversary? I don't know, man. I mean, I'm not sure much, to be honest. I suppose the Beat the Meat thing will be fun. I'm desperately hoping that we are going to see and have a decent role in the specials for, Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi and preferably Karen Gillan. Because if the 60th really just turns out to be, a Tennant and Tate RTD era wank fest, I'm not going to be all that impressed. I mean, beyond that, I can't really. What else is there really apart from the, the specials? I can't really. I don't know. That's about it, really. I just hope that there is a lot more to the anniversary specials than we've been shown so far. I hope there is. Otherwise, I will be very disappointed. And his final question: if you want to see a Doctor Who spin-off on Disney Plus, which character or monster should they focus on? I don't know. I mean, I'm not really that fussed about spin-offs. I really, the spin-offs we've had, off of New Who, none of them have particularly done anything for me. I don't know. I mean, I suppose I could see like a Dalek show. I can't really see. I mean, I wouldn't have minded one with the Paternoster gang, but I think it's probably about 10 years too late for that now. And the problem with a Unit spin-off is I don't really give a crap about modern Unit. Unit was cool when the Brig was in charge. Beyond that, it's just, I don't really care. Sorry. Okay, so we've got another 4 from Time for Teletubbies. Number 1, what are your thoughts on the idea of colorizing and broadcasting or releasing on DVD of 62? think it's a cool idea. I really do. I mean, I was totally against it a few years ago. Now I kind of think, why not? I mean, I've seen what they did with that. Just a couple of clips of the Hancock episode that they did recently. I thought it looked great. I mean, I can understand why people are wary, and I think the problem is that sometimes black and white can be really atmospheric, and other times it can just look old. I just think it would be interesting. I think it would definitely be interesting to see it and see what it's like, and to at least have the option. I'm not 100% for it, but I'm certainly not against it. I think it's interesting, and I would like to see what it was like. I mean, some of the clips that you get on YouTube, which are obviously not professionally done, still look pretty cool. Some of them. I mean, some of them are awful, but some of them are. Yeah, that's really impressive. So yeah, I'm not against it. I would watch it. That's for certain. Question 2: what DVD box set would you pick to be released, and why? I know season 7 probably, simply because I think like some of the picture qualities could do with improving, like Inferno and Ambassadors. I mean, Spearhead looks fantastic on Blu-ray anyway. So, question 3. Would you watch Ncuti Gatwa when he takes control of the TARDIS? Well, I'll probably watch the Christmas special at least. And maybe even the first episode or so. I mean, it depends, I'll give it a go. I have no idea, I haven't seen him in it. I haven't seen him in anything else. So I really don't have any kind of preconception. I'll give him a chance. I mean, I'm more kind of wary simply because it's Davis again, and I don't particularly like the Davis era. So if that's the style we're going back to and what we're getting from now on, I'm not sure there's much chance I'm going to be interested. I think that's more of a concern for me than the actor. I'll see what he's like. If I like him, cool. If I don't like him, or even if I think he's okay, but I don't like the style of the show anymore, then, well, there you go. Question 4. Have you got any recommendations for zombie movies and TV shows apart from The Walking Dead, Z Nation, World War Z, and 28 Days and Weeks Later? I've never even seen Z Nation. I didn't like The Walking Dead. I think I watched about 1.5 episodes and was like, yeah, no. Do you mean modern or all time? Because I mean all time, you can't go past like the Romero ones, especially Dawn of the Dead, the original Dawn of the Dead. And Shaun of the Dead is a brilliant comedy parody. As for TV shows, the one that springs to mind the most is All of Us Are Dead, the Korean show that was out last year on Netflix. There's going to be a second season. It's a zombie outbreak in Korea, and it focuses on a high school that's under siege. That was really, really good. I really, really enjoyed that. I just hope season 2 is as good. So yeah, I would definitely recommend that. And there's also another Korean show called Happiness, which does much the same thing, with like in an apartment building, though it's debatable as to whether that's really zombies. They are definitely zombies in All of Us Are Dead. It's debatable whether they're zombies in Happiness, because it's the disease thing, but it's almost as much like vampirism as it is zombieism. So I don't know whether you could. But I would definitely All of Us Are Dead. That's fantastic. Graham Mackay says, what were your best top 5 viewings of 2022? And is there anything I'm looking forward to watching this year that's due to be released? Um, Top 5 viewings of 2022. I think I'd have to say probably 3 TV shows and 2 movies. The movies I would say were The Black Phone, which I thought was a very. I've talked about these in my 2022 overview, which I put up on New Year's Day. So I'll try not to talk about it for too long. The Black Phone was a pretty solid little horror thriller. I enjoyed that. Top Gun Maverick was very enjoyable. I think it's a little bit overrated, but I think that's more out of the audience's relief at seeing something that isn't just, the usual endless insane politics that we have to these days, and actually a movie that wants to entertain people instead of lecture them. And the TV shows, again, All of Us Are Dead. Again, Happiness, even though that was actually 2021, but I didn't see it till last year. Both of them were excellent Korean shows. Really enjoyed them. And maybe Echoes, the Netflix limited series with Michelle Monaghan as identical twins who swap lives with each other every year on their birthday. That was a really good psychological thriller with loads of twists. I really enjoyed that. Anything I'm looking forward to watching this year? The only thing I can really think of is the new Mission Impossible, because that's a great series. The last 2 were really, really good. You can usually count on Tom Cruise to deliver something that will be entertaining, with the sole exception of the Mummy remake. But we'll pretend that didn't happen. The new Mission Impossible I'm definitely looking forward to. Maybe the next Guardians of the Galaxy. That's a little bit more dubious. I can't really think of anything else. I told you, I'm so out of the modern pop culture scene. So little of it is in any way appealing. Is there anything else? Oh, Zombie Town. I'm vaguely interested in a film called Zombie Town. It's based on an R.L. Stein novel, and it seems like it's a bit teen-centric, but I'm interested because Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd are in it. And I haven't seen them in anything for donkey's years. And I love Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd. How big a role they'll have in it, I don't know. Whether it'll be any good, I don't know. But I'm at least vaguely interested in that, which is more than I can say for a lot of things. And I suppose I'm again mildly interested in The Flash simply because of Michael Keaton. I mean, if it weren't for him, I wouldn't give a toss. But I don't know. We'll see. It depends how big a role he has. That's about all I can think of, really. To be honest. Bjorn Carlson says, have I seen the new version of FA, Show Me Love, now? Is there any new information about the movies in the interviews with Lucas and Alex? I haven't seen it yet. I only got it on Friday. I've checked the disc and I've flipped through the film to make sure the disc plays right and look at the picture quality. It's certainly a big upgrade on the DVD. I mean, the DVD is not even proper widescreen. It's widescreen, but it's not anamorphic widescreen, which means now when you put it looked okay on like an old TV. When you look at it now on a proper widescreen TV, it's like a little box rather than actual proper widescreen. So it's certainly a big improvement on that. But I haven't seen it and I haven't watched the interviews yet. Sorry. Sally Wagonblatt wants to know what are my thoughts on Neighbours being revived after only a brief cancellation. Oh God, is my thought on that. I could not believe it when I heard that. My heart just sank. It's like, why? Why? For God's sake, why? I don't get it. I really don't. The show has not been any fucking good since 2004. And that was something of a bizarre aberration, since before that it hadn't been any good since about 1990 bloody one. How does it keep going? It had literally done like one good thing in 17 years. And I have no doubt that at some point, now it's coming fucking back, they'll probably undo that and fuck it up. Because that's what that show does. It fucks everything up you ever gave a crap about. I breathed a goddamn sigh of relief when it got axed. I thought, we've dodged a bullet. We might actually get away with it now. No, it's coming back. I won't be watching it, but oh God, I can't believe it. Why? Why can't TV shows just die now? I just found out the other day they've brought Criminal Minds back. It only ended in 2020, and they've brought it back on bloody Paramount Plus. Like, fuck me, it ran for 15 years. How much else has it possibly got to say? Why can't anything just die anymore? For God's sake, TV shows are not supposed to run forever. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. I'm sorry, I just can't. I just could not believe that, and I still can't believe it. God. Oh, not again. The phone's ringing again. God, back again. It was another bloody spam call from quote-unquote Amazon. Bloody hell, that's twice in half an hour. Anyway, where was I? Fadi Kuri says, what found story do you wish wasn't found? And if you could, go back and replace that story with another missing story. E.g., replace the Ice Warriors with the Highlanders. Well, I wouldn't replace the Ice Warriors. I like the Ice Warriors. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. It seems churlish to want that. I suppose, and I know this will piss some people off, I suppose I would skip Enemy of the World and go for Fury from the Deep instead. I know that would piss some people off. I really think Enemy is very overrated, to be honest with you. Yeah. Kieran Gurney says, oh God, we're neighbours again. I remember you saying years ago that you were too young for the whole Scott and Charlene fad in the 80s. So why did I take the reruns of the 80s and not just wait for the early 90s with Cody? Though as it turned out, it took like 10 years to actually get there. Oh, that's a strange question. I mean, yeah, I was never into Scott and Charlene, but they weren't the only characters in the bloody show. And they weren't even, although the media was all, Scott and Charlene, Kylie Minogue. The show wasn't, the show was an ensemble cast, a large ensemble cast. And I liked the majority of the characters. And it was a fun show. I mean, I started watching the show in 86. That's when I started watching it. So why wouldn't I want to see those again? I mean, I don't have them anymore because the tapes turned to absolute shite. And they weren't even salvageable. But it was fun at the time. I mean, yeah. And I mean, look, it's not like I hated Scott and Charlene. I've come to kind of despise them, not so much because of them themselves, but just because of the way that the show treats them, as opposed to basically every other character and couple. Pretty much every other character and every other couple they will just shit on at a moment's notice. They will even shit on couples that got a happy ending decades ago for no real reason. Like, the characters aren't even coming back or something, but we'll just casually retcon them and have them ruined. But Scott and Charlene are just sacred, and it just pisses me the fuck off. Again, it's not really the character's fault. It's the show's fault, and it pisses me the fuck off. Anyway. And the last question, from what I can see, is Mark McCambridge, who wants to know if I like a jelly baby. No, not really. I'm kind of dieting at the moment. Sorry, too much sugar. Thanks for the offer, though. And that appears to be it, which is probably just as well. We're 35 minutes in. I think this might actually be the longest Q&A yet. Well, thank you for all the questions. That was fun. We will do it again sometime. I hope you enjoyed me talking my usual crap. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.